Okay, I want to talk about some POE1 stuff. The next league is going to be good. I know a lot of people are going to play this because, well, it's a lot of changes and first big league after Settlers, and it looks like they put a lot of effort into it. GGG. And I played Settlers. I think my favorite character every league. Well, I played Settlers. I played Settlers Reboot. I played Hardcore. I played Freesia. So I played a lot of POE1. And every time I just stuck with the same build at endgame. I had to play Trickster all the time because of Energy Shield. And Energy Shield with Ephemeral Edge is really strong because you scale defense and offense. And Energy Shield with Aegis Aurora is also very strong because that shield gives you near invincibility to anything that doesn't one-shot you. So, I mean, I don't see how you don't play it. Now, in Freesia, the interesting thing is there's no Trickster. You have to play other ascendancies, right? And this is my character, more SS. I mean, for the Ascendant, it was 1, 2, 3, it was a 4th top DPS. I tried pretty hard, though, and I like Splitting Steel. The 12 mil you might go, that's so low compared to other skills. But you have to remember, Splitting Steel is like, on this character, I think it was firing like 8, 9 projectiles that would all return. So you'd be getting about 100 million. And I think in POE1, if you hit 100 million single target, you can do a lot of hard content. I mean, a lot. It's enough to comfortably kill Ubers and do Valdo's maps, although some of them will be out of, just not possible because of the way damage works. I mean, some of those mods, the way they nerf your damage is too much. But I did a lot of maps on this character that made me a lot of divines. Like other characters just don't want to touch them because they're too horrible. So Aegis Aurora, I remember this is the item that was really like, holy shit, this item is. The moment I thought this item was really strong was when there are Valdo's maps where they force you to remove an item because you take less damage for every item equipped. I think it's 10% each. And you can count. There's 10 items in here. So if you keep all your items and go into that map, you're doing 0 damage. You have to decide which items are the least important to you. Remember, I would always remove Shavron's Revelation first. This just gives you a lot of ES, but you can sacrifice that, and then you remove maybe some of the boots or the gloves. I think you'd never remove your belt, Mage Blood or whatever. You know, it's suicide to remove Mage Blood. You'd never remove Voice of the Storm. This is very strong, or your armor, giving you all your energy shield. You just can't touch these items, and if I remove my shield, I would die instantly. I remember this. I just got instant use. Like I could sit there tank stuff and not die, and remove these items one by one, and it wouldn't matter so much. But the moment I removed Aegis Aurora, I'm dead. Just boom, just instantly. That's how strong this shield was. I remember, and they haven't touched it. Some people laugh at this item or don't like it or whatever. I think it's really strong. I love uniques that give you a lot of power. Because it's not that expensive. It ends up being 1 divine, 2 divines. I'm not a big fan of giga like cracked rares because they're expensive. They're really like this armor was 50 divines. It was the most. No, Mage Blood is most expensive, but after Mage Blood, this is the most expensive. And I remember once you get enough power to do Valdo's maps, these are free. I think I probably picked up and sold like 10 of them in Freesia, and every time you do that, it's like 20 divines, 30 divines. It's crazy. Thinking back, I think I did a lot better in POE1 leagues than POE2. I mean, the thing is, POE2 endgame isn't so attractive, so I mean, what's the point of doing well in that, quote unquote? Yeah, this was a cracked shield. Because I remember that trying to get the global defenses mod in there. Now, thinking of it this way, isn't there a gem that does 40% increased global? That's crazy. When you get to this kind of level of gearing, that line, global defenses, was insane. Like, it was, without that mod, this item was only like 5 divines, or no, I mean 10 divines. But with it was like 50. So like, it's a lot. Ephemeral Edge got nerfed. The standard play was to get the Resolute Technique corrupt on it, so you don't deal with accuracy. Then you do Precise Technique for 40% more. You sacrifice crit. And I remember you sacrifice crit, and then you use Voice of the Storm. And the weird thing was, in this league there was another ascendancy. I think it was Blind Prophet that did crit scaling. And it had a free Nimbus, I believe. They call it a mini Nimbus, which is back on a Saboteur, which did like 50% of projectiles return to you, which was good for, I guess, a starter version of Splitting Steel. But in the end, I didn't like the crit scaling version at all. When I got to Valdo's maps, it kind of broke down for whatever reason. Either the damage was inconsistent or whatever. The lightning damage with it being lucky is big. I mean, POB maxed it out to be like a 20 to 30%, maybe 30% more damage. Truthfully, it's not really increasing the damage so much as it is reducing the consistency, reducing the damage, reducing the inconsistency of lightning damage, the downside of it. So it's like, I don't know what makes this build so strong and why I go back to it. Number one, I think, is these resists. I know that when you go to 90% all res, all of a sudden your character feels kind of immortal. I mean, it's another thing. It's the all res plus the shield, and you get, well, it ranks it as 240k. Yeah, if you hit 240k, 200k plus EHP, you're very tanky for most of the content. I mean, so, and the thing is, it's not even Trickster. This is the so in this, I felt was as strong, maybe not as strong actually, but close to the Trickster version I played in the original Settlers League, which got voided because I went too far with voided maps. So yeah, it got voided. I mean, it's I wasn't even sad. I was like, great, another reason to play the game again. So anyway, this means this build is not dependent on Trickster to be alive to be good. But what did get killed was Splitting Steel. Oh man, it's not that. If it can't return, that means it's not usable as a single target skill. And the beauty of this skill was that it was great at clear and it was great at single target. Hard to find a skill like that now. Sad. But I still want to play attack builds. Also, anyone who gets to the end game knows this, tinctures are really strong. They are really strong tinctures. POE1, I think, doesn't use a... The LE pen is just a more damage, really. Like, probably the LE pen is more damage when the monster has high resistances and less so. But it's just a global more damage, right? And I was thinking, I want to play this character, this class again, because, man, that art. I mean, who doesn't want to play a character looking at this every day, It's just, you're a hot chick. Anyway. 4. Now I was looking at the POB. And, 1 second. Right, so this is the POB for that character. This was the most beautiful tree I've ever seen. Like, it was so wonderful. I loved it. And this is the end game. It was a level 100. And the coolest thing about Scion is it's almost like these gems were designed for this. Light of Meaning is almost a must-have for endgame. In this case, ES scaling, you have a lot of energy shield from this, right? I mean, look at that. If you removed it, you lose, like, that's a lot of energy shield lost. 3.7k lost. But you just slot this gem in, and usually you have to grab all the nodes around it. But then if you use I think it was a Natural Instinct. Yeah, this is really cool. So you get all the nodes around it, which was really efficient. So, like, there's an interplay between Light of Meaning and Natural Instinct, which is really efficient pathing wise. And then a Green Nightmare. This one you get Spell Block. So that this trio of jewels I thought was really cool, and it's really only usable like this in a Scion area. In the Trickster version, you have to kind of put it over here somewhere. So that's one thing. And also, the other cool defensive tech was you take Iron Reflexes. Because you will get a lot of armor from that. And when you get a lot of armor, the reason you want that is because it will make your Aegis Aurora restore a shit ton of ES every time you get it. More than... So basically, hits will heal you instead of taking damage. So you ignore all the small hits. This makes you so tanky. It's almost indescribable, you know? I was kind of wondering, where does the evasion even come from? I think it's just basically... Yeah, the energy... No, that's energy shield. That's interesting. Where does it come from? I'm going to look right here. Where is armor? Oh, right. This is a build... Yeah, is it a mage buff? It is, because most of it's coming from the flasks. The evasion rating here, yeah. Anyway, that's more of an endgame thing, where you have, like, Iron Eve... Like, that's a lot of EHP loss, huh? You know? Shit. If you remove Aegis Aurora... that's a lot of EHP. I see minus 80% EHP. I mean... And then, if you get enough block and armor, this goes to infinity. Straight. The way it calculates EHP is, like... It's weird. It's using, like, average hits, I think, something like that, from, like, monsters of that level. So infinite, and people, that's bullshit. It's bullshit in a certain way. If you think of the one max hit, the one shot is not going to help you there. But not everything is a one shot in POE1. You can get hit down to 0 very easily. So that's a lot of EHP, right? And that's a lot of EHP. This is only a 1-2 divine item. I mean, the good ones, the good corrupts go up to 20, but base is not that expensive. And then I realized later that these jewels, cluster jewels, with the right rolls, are the way you scale endgame damage. Like, look, if I remove this, 40% less damage. Holy shit. For one cluster, same thing here. 43% less damage for the other. Well, this is for Splitting Steel. I remember Repeater and Eye to Eye were like these two really strong notables that you can get with cluster jewels only. And the key was the large clusters being really strong. Like, these would all give you what? Attack damage, attack speed, attributes, and energy shield. That's pretty strong, right? And they're all like next to each other like this. This, I didn't understand how strong they were, and some people don't like them because you can't do this in SSF. But when you get to the end game, this is the only way to keep scaling, I think. You need cluster jewels. It becomes about point efficiency, very much about it. And this was really strong. Like, these would cost like 20 divines as well, like just the jewel itself, right? And then once you got it and you allocate all these points, it's like it felt good, right? And then these were really cheap though. Eye to eye repeater, you can craft them yourself. Like just getting the right notables is not hard. And then, so here I had Trickster, like Forbidden Flame, Forbidden Flesh, really cool jewels that let you take another ascendancy point on your class. It doesn't have to, well, for Sign it had to be the same ascendancy, but you know, like it was fun. I had Deadeye here, and then Trickster. You can play with that, which is really fun. And then Lethal Pride, which is like almost a must-have for any attack build, I think. I don't know. Is it more? Yeah, no, actually anything. It doesn't have to be. It's double damage. Another source of crit, kind of. It is really strong, right? Because it's a lot of damage per node. It replaces the useless nodes you don't want. I don't know about the next league, if this is still going to be like the go-to jewel. But you always have to buy one, I felt. And then Leech Ghost Reaver. Yikes. You know, like... Well, I'm not sure how useful this is actually now, because it all depends on where you get your life leech from. But anyway, the strongest node for Trickster for the defensive side was, well, first of course there was Escape Artist. Where is it? Oh, this is the fucking Freesia tree. Is it? Is that Trickster? Wasn't even Restless. This is Assassin, isn't it? I must be looking at the wrong thing here. Oh, okay, hold on a second. I don't know what's going on here. That's not Trickster. Escape Artist is the big one, but the other one is, I think it's called Soul Drinker. It's when like your leech doesn't get cancelled when it hits full life. I learned only like after 3 months why that's so strong. It's like when you're leeching, your health globe goes up really fast, but then it stops when it hits full. And those leeches after that don't count anymore. But if you have that node, it keeps leeching. And so what happens is after you get hit, your ES pool doesn't go back down at all. It just stays at max, making you feel almost immortal. Like as long as you're constantly attacking shit and leeching, it's like you feel you can't die. Like the only way you die is if, like, usually in Navaldo's maps, that Siri comes along and spams that Flame Blast that just outright one-shots you. So all I had to do was just dodge a Flame Blast, which is sometimes easier said than done. But so that was a crazy note for Trickster. And I don't know, there's some really cool tech. I've seen it. It's really try-hard, but it works. Is that I believe there's another node here that was... I don't remember what it was. No, not Acrobatics. Another keystone. It would prevent your energy shield from recovering above your evasion, right? Okay, but you can't really run that with I think it's the Lethal Pride's blocking it. It's this one. And then what you would do is, because it never recovers above like your max. Okay, it's really complicated tech, but it was a way of getting Soul Drinker without getting Soul Drinker. But this character never had Soul Drinker, and it did a lot of Valdo's maps without much problem. So I don't think it's a must-have. You can kind of get away with it by having a large ES pool, like a 16k I got up to here. It's funny, like every league I got higher and higher. Like the Trickster I had originally was 14k, and it's got to 16k. Yeah, so that's a tree. I mean, it's really just, it's like it reveals the most important nodes because there's nothing but the most important nodes here. I mean, the whole starting section was just that, and then what you get from the other side of the tree. Now this is all, the mark mastering shit, this is only because it was running Splitting Steel, which depended on the split count from a cursed enemy. So Sniper's Mark and then all that. And yeah. So other than that, it's just a cluster of jewels in the end game, right? It's just the defense here, the damage here, the damage here, the Aegis Aurora with Iron Reflexes, CI, so you don't need to put Chaos Inoculation on your Chaos Resist on your gear, and ES Leech basically to keep it all like just to sustain. That's it. And then for defense, all right, the 90 max res. Every league I had to do this. I had to do this. This is how you get super tanky, I felt. Where's this jewel? Melding of the Flesh. This jewel. It's only, you can only do this with Mage Blood though. So it's kind of like, once you get Mage Blood, you do this, right? Where the fuck is it? I know it's here somewhere. Yes, one. It gives you a huge penalty to your LE res, which is not a problem with Mage Blood, and your max res. But you only have to cap the max res of one element to get 90 all. And 90 all is a very hard thing to achieve. But when you have Aegis Aurora, which is already great, it has maximum cold res. It's very rare to get that. And the rest you get through, I think, some whatever flask shenanigans with Mage Blood. Here, maximum cold res. You had to run one of these, and you would get. It would be tough, but you could manage to get 90 all res. And when you had 90 all res, you start to feel really tanky. And then you combine it with Aegis Aurora, you feel unkillable. And that's when you just map with your brain off. That's when you go to a harvest, juice it up, and don't even care. That's when you win T17s and never die. Like, well, not never die, rarely die. And yeah, I mean, that is a basic template for the build. It goes by lightning damage because of Ephemeral Edge. Voice of the Storm was always a really good item to get. Just the whole, everything is great. Minus 30% average damage. This thing drops from Breach easily. I thought Breach was a great way to farm stuff endgame. The Esh Breach Stone. It usually goes for 3-4 divines. Sellers League goes like that, free shows like that. Everyone wants this amulet. Out of the Breach items, this one was the most valuable, I felt. This is very expensive, was on League Start, but gets cheaper as it goes along. Of course, I had a Nimbus too. I mean, you need Nimbus for splitting steel, if you want, for the return proj. But now that they've screwed it over, I don't know why would they would touch splitting steel. To find another different skill. I don't know. It may not even be attack. I don't know if you can scale spell damage with energy shield, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Even if you remove the Ephemeral Edge, right? The basic tank of this build is intact. This build was good for endgame. The other one I thought was really good with early game or mid game was using power charge stacking. I thought that was very strong. You get a lot of big damage for cheap, is the feeling. But your defenses are always kind of weird. Like indirect damage has a problem with sustain and defense always. I never wanted to play mines in endgame. And the interesting thing, I think, the most interesting thing is Scion or Ascendant was untouched. For the Free Show League, I was looking at why the fuck would you ever pick? I don't remember anymore. So, what do you get? You get, okay, I picked Cloak of Flame. That's huge. Too bad, it's gone. Got it for free here. This was big. I remember this was big. Like when there's slams, like fizz slams and stuff, this would make it so it's not a one-shot. That was a big value of it. But there's not much fizz damage. It's not that common, you know? And like the Euro bosses are basically, they're almost all LE damage anyway. So this is a situational node, if you ask me. Like it just prevents slams from killing you outright. I only think of a few cases that this is very important. Still, I take it because of the, you know, it's nice to not die from those situational damage. I think this is the biggest node that will be missed. This will be missed greatly, I think, although it doesn't seem to be that. Yeah. How much energy shield do you lose here? 1k. And you lose evasion, so I don't know how you make up for this. Well, we'll see. And Fury Valve was for splitting steel. So it was good. And you got 6 passive points overall, which is very good. Oh, it's very strong. I don't know. I get the original tree back? There you go. So Ascendant. What if you didn't play the Scavenger? I thought this is very strong. Like, did you see that? The hit DPS going up from 11 million to 19? It's because tinctures are very strong. I mean, you can tell when you have it active, the monster takes a lot more damage. It's increased damage and it's LE pen. Here you have attack speed. So the two that were really strong for melee attacks was LE pen and also attack speed. But you can only have one active at one time, and now this node lets you take two. I mean, there's ways to automate these tinctures and make them easy to use. I mean, like, not automate. In your mind, you automate them. Like, you just use them without thinking. It's not that hard. It's just you have to make sure your mana doesn't go to 0. But you're always leeching mana anyway, so it's not a big deal. Then, I think that's a must pick. The other one's probably Trickster. Generically, it's some more damage. But you have Energy Shield Leech. I don't know how hard that is to get Energy Shield Leech, but the one that's really good is probably the Monster Slow, I think. I don't know. This one's good. What else was good, I thought? I'm basically trying to work out, like, how could you recreate this build? Because I like this build a lot. I mean, this is my favorite kind of build. And even with the Splitting Steel being, like, killed, I think it's better just to find a different skill than to rebuild differently. Because I like the way it played. I like the way they used. I like the uses of tinctures. It was fun. So the funny about Trickster is, this says 2% more damage for each mastery. Now that's the same as having an actual Trickster. I thought that's kind of weird. I mean, people run this polymathy, is that what it's called? For that damage, usually. And now it's equivalent to the one on the Scion. I think that's kind of weird. So. Or Occultist. Sorry, I take it back. I take that back. I take Occultist, probably. Well, I'm not sure. Because one thing, it says you cannot be stunned while you have Energy Shield. This just means you cannot be stunned if you're running CI. And additional curse is very strong if you run a curse setup. Now, the thing was really cool was, although I dumped it later because of the pathing, and also because there's curse immune mobs, but you would run like one of these, one of the veiled mods for the helm was, it would trigger, I have it here actually, I love it, triggers socketed spells when you focus with a cooldown. This trigger thing has no cast speed, it's instant cast. I thought that's fucking amazing because you're not interrupting your attack, like your DPS rotation, while you are, like, you map it to a button and you just push it while you're wailing away. You don't stop your wailing away. It's just everything's instant. So this is so strong, I thought, because you can apply utility spells like Sigil of Power, usually for damage. Then you apply like utility shit, like whatever you want. If you're running curses, that you cast them all instantly, which is, you know, perfect. And then there's a mod for like, was it on gloves? Right. The increased attack and cast speed while focus at 47%. That's also, I think, a veiled mod. It's insane. And you think about it, that's where the cooldown on this thing is not high. I mean, you focus, it lasts a while, and then you can't use it again for a while. But then that's how it usually works. Like, you run up to the boss, you smack him down, then they move away, or there's a break time, or there's a phasing time in which your focus recovers. So basically, it's like burst, right? So you combine the focus burst with the tincture burst, and it's a lot of burst. So like, this is how you get the nice theoretical max hit from like this damage. Like, that's insane, this 20 mil. Even though it's theoretical burst, Like this is a number you see from Hex Blast, and you got to remember that splitting steel at 20 million is like single target like 160, 180 mil hit DPS, and that's a lot of damage. And it hits. It always hits, and it's not inconsistent damage. It's like the damage range is being made better by Voice of the Storm. So like this is really a really strong template, but you can't run splitting steel. So I don't know what to run there. Well, that'll be the fun of it. But I definitely want to go for this. You know, and then with Forbidden Flesh and Flame. So I mean, if Occultist is cheap or whatever, you just look at whatever's cheap. I would do that. Like if Warden would probably be cheap, so I'd just get the Forbidden Flesh Flame for Warden. Then Trickster, and allocate the expensive ones. Buy Forbidden Flame jewels for the cheap one. Yeah, I mean they're all kind of weird and useful, you know, like Inquisitor. Nah. This one's the weakest. Yeah. Kind of fun. Unleash potential. Holy, they have so many fringe skills in this game. It's crazy. Like fringe nodes and stuff. But this was really min-maxed in Free Shot. This was really, really min-maxed. And these items were never bought. Nimbus, Voice. These were all like... I remember like near the end game I was running these Valdos maps. That's the only thing I ever did was Valdos. And there was like a lot of highlights with this character. I did a lot of these Void maps, and holy, it was such a thrill to finish a Void map, you know? And they're hard, because they're not easy. You could die, and like lose everything, lose your entire character. But if you kind of know like what's inside the map and what you'll face, the trick was for Void is you pick a map that has similar mods that's not Void, and just see how close you are to dying. And if you're never close to dying, then run it anyway, you know. And yeah, it's funny, like I forget everything about this the character's progression, but I do remember the Valdos maps that I cleared again and again, with quite surprising clarity. There was one that was a Strand map. I remember this one. It was a Nimbus as a reward. I did this map probably 5-6 times in that league, and it was people hated it because it was a Void map, and it had the volatility mod. So every time you kill a bunch of mods, you have volatility, and it explodes. And you take a lot of damage. Like if you, the thing was that, so it would basically be like if you killed too many mobs, you'd have like 50 volatility, and it's a Void map. You're gonna die. Like you're gonna just pop and lose your character. But the way you get around that is just don't kill a few mobs, wait patiently, let volatility explode, and you'll be fine. But then there's another mod. There was another thing in there that was even worse. There's rituals, and you have to complete them, and you know rituals you can't leave, and the mob count starts racking up hard, and so the volatility you can't escape it, and you might die in a ritual. But the way to get around that, I never told people about this, but it's really cool. You just don't kill mobs in a ritual circle. Take the 5 extra seconds to lure everything out of the ritual circle. If you kill mobs outside of that, and let's say you start the ritual with like 2-3 mobs, then it's like a piece of cake, right? The ritual ends right away. You get no points, but you're not there for the points. You're there to survive and make it through the map. And by the 3rd or 4th ritual, it's only like 20 mobs, 30 mobs in the circle. You're never at danger of dying. And it's like the easy like 10, 20 divines every time you do this. You know, just to find the map, you know, which is really exciting. I mean, you have to be comfortable with the fact that if you fuck up, you're going to die. But then there's logout macros you can use. I mean, if you just recognize, oh shit, I'm dead, you have 5 seconds to decide. You know, just take the divine loss and just move on, right? But, and I lost a lot of divines on this character. I lost like probably 200, I think, fucking up the Valdos maps. But it was fun. I remember it was really fun. Mid-game, I remember, I was always doing inscribe ultimatums from, I think, mostly chieftains, or like those kind of characters that just farm the thing and don't want to run the hard ones. Because this character was very tanky, I remember. Like, it's hard to kill this character. Really hard. And the only mods it could never do with Valdos was like it was usually a combination of, You do less damage per item equipped. The touched ones where like the monster, the fear touched was just insane. Like the fear to move at lightning speeds, and it's like fuck no, right? And then you're doing less damage, or like that and delirium. Like there's a combinations of them that are just really hard to do, and I just never did them. But other mods it could do, like really bad mods, it could handle pretty well. And like there's some mods that like you make you do less damage. Like, so that you would, I think I would remove. I don't remember. It was the gloves or boots, but you're doing like 90% less damage. That's crazy. 90% less damage, but you still can't get through a map. You can still kill the feared, normally. But it just takes a long time. But I didn't mind that because you know you're getting divines for this. So I never minded that kind of thing. I like the certainty of, instead of RNG, I like the certainty of it. So yeah. That's about all I have to say about this. I mean, like, that's insane. But I mean, like, this is mostly the tincture. Look, I deactivate this one, it goes to 12, right? This tincture alone is giving you 60% more damage. And it's on a lot. It's not like 2 seconds it's on. It's on a lot because you're leeching your mana back. I don't think tinctures were nerfed. I'll have to check. But like if you can get 2 of them on a warden, I don't know, man. And this is not even fucking good. How do you get the super powered tinctures? Ah, this mod. Here we go. Is that the one? No, wait, what? It didn't increase. I think there's something wrong with this, the POE1. I think it's more than that, but whatever. That's all I think was really important. And I thought that spell suppress being 100%, it's like 100% crit. You don't really need it. What didn't I like about spell suppress? Because some mods in those volatils just remove your spell suppress outright. It's like One Mana Left said, the more you lean into one thing, the more you're setting yourself up to be just like neutralized by one mod. So like if you're only curses, your damage goes to 0. I mean, you know, spell suppress is 50% sweet spot. And then if you really want it, I think there's a lucky node for that. I remember this one. If you look at the spell suppress mastery, whatever the hell it was, I forget. There's one that makes it lucky, which is the best. You know, it's best to do that when your spell suppress is set, when something is at 50%, I believe, right? This one. Wait, hold on. How do I stop the search? I can't allocate this? Right. 22 spell suppress from this one, right? Going to... Well, it's at 100% now, right? So this whole cluster would have given me 100% spell suppress, but I didn't take it. I thought it was not worth the 5 points. I think spell suppress a little bit overvalued. It's good to have some of it, but not. I think it's overvalued a little bit. It's better to have 50% more tank, kind of a thing. But I don't know. It all depends. Anyway, it's kind of exciting. I think I want to go with this template again. And now that the invert has been nerfed to 15, it's really big. But then, you know, you can do curses. The idea there was that you either take this node and don't run curses, or you don't take this node and you run curses. The don't take this node and run curses is a little bit more damage, but you have to run curses, which is like clunky and can be stopped by hexproof or whatever. So in the end game is like, to save points, you don't run curses and take the inverted node, and it was the best choice. But this is like you, yeah. So you can't. So this is not giving you the hexproof thing from occultist. Oh well. Now, hold on. Is there a stun flask here? How did I prevent myself from getting stunned? I probably removed one of these flasks. I forget. There must be one that has a can't be stunned on it. Otherwise, it gets stun locked forever. I forget now. I'll have to see again. Yeah, and also the other thing was leech was not a necessity. It was not necessary. The thing that was really important to have though was like ES on hit, which was really good because it can't be stopped. Was the idea? Nothing stops that. No mod in Valdos will stop you from getting your ES back from ES on hit. Because if that's 0, you're kind of screwed. But then of course you have Aegis Aurora. So I remember also like for example when Cyrus is going around, like Cyrus is a great killing him for his loot was a great way to get currency when I needed. Because people hate that boss. And then he flies around doing that attacks on you, right? You have nowhere to leech anything because there's nothing to hit. But on an Aegis Aurora build, if you just stand in his shit, it would heal you back to full ES, which is crazy, right? So, anyway, that's about it. I just want to make sure I remember everything. I can listen to it later, remember why I ran the build this way. Because it's been a while, so. But this is by far my favorite template because you can run Valdos, which is a really fun content, and you can do a lot of bad mods with this. Like, not easily, of course, but it can do it. Is the point? I think the thing I hate about crit. First of all, if you take crit, you have to deal with accuracy. I believe there's no other. You can't get around it, right? And I hated that so much. You feel like sometimes you're not doing damage, like you know. I mean, you have to get 100% accuracy, and that was a pain. That was a pain to do that. So I don't, I do think Resolute Technique, Ephemeral Edge is like you live without it before it becomes cheap, and then when it does become cheap, you grab that, and yeah, I believe that was a great pairing with Precise Technique, and which synergizes well with Voice of the Storm, because you never deal crits. So now it's all lucky damage for lightning. I don't know. I mean, why wouldn't I run this? Why wouldn't I run this again? But I think the armor evasion is all coming from the mage blood, or you run grace. I think before that, something like that. Is that it? That's about it. I always have to get this. This is the target chase every league, right? I don't know why people shit talk that belt. It's a good belt. You don't have that belt in the game. I don't know if I even want to play. It's a really fun belt. It's the pivotal moment in the league when you get this item. Even the 2 flask one. People shit talk that one too. You know you can sell it again, you know. You borrow it, let's say, and it sells back very easily. Even 2 flask corrupts. It's very easy to sell back. So you just borrow it for the move speed and one other thing you want, whatever the hell you want for the other affixes, and return it to someone else later. I don't know what to say. Yeah. Alright. That's it.